Good evening. I'm Drew Allen, and this is the Friday Update. In Kentucky political news that's flushing away any remaining dignity, Congressman Thomas Massie has lost his Republican primary to Trump-backed Navy SEAL and farmer Ed Galrine, 55-45, in the most expensive House primary in American history. Over $30 million spent. That's not a campaign. That's what happens when you piss off Trump, AIPAC, and apparently the entire porcelain industry at the same time. Massie, ever the dry libertarian, conceded by joking that it took him a while to congratulate his opponents because he had to find Ed Galrine in Tel Aviv. But recent reports from the War Room tell a very different story. Turns out the real delay was Massie blowback, the kind of catastrophic, pants-destroying, I'm not going to make it bow Armageddon that pins a man to the porcelain throne like it's Guantanamo. Sources say the entire room full of neo-Nazi adjacent influencers who masterminded his apocalyptic strategy are now live tweeting their own gastrointestinal apocalypse. They're not warning us about the lobby. They're warning us about Imodium running out. One posted, and I quote, it's diarrhea on ourselves, bros. Another just dropped a voice note that was 80% moaning, 15% blaming AIPAC, and 5% asking if anyone has spare Charmin. Doctors are calling it rage clicker's revenge. Symptoms include explosive regret, uncontrollable rage tweets about Jews, and the sudden realization that ratioing everyone who disagrees while mainlining gas station taquitos might not have been a winning electoral strategy. These guys are all over X right now, solemnly warning America that the blowback will be fierce. And you know what? They're right. Americans should be scared they'll run out of toilet paper before the Massie revolution arrives. One supporter called it a purge. Yes, a purge of whatever was in their system after stress eating their feelings about the Zionist entity. Massie told the crowd there's still a yearning in this country for people who vote their conscience over party loyalty. Beautiful, poetic, just not great for your butthole when your base's idea of helping is doxing donors and then doom scrolling so hard they give themselves IBS. Galrine, meanwhile, is celebrating like he won the Super Bowl, the lottery, and a lifetime supply of Depends, because apparently this blowback is highly contagious. We at the Friday Update wish Representative Massie and his porcelain patriots well. Hang in there, kings. The revolution may not be televised, but the live stream diarrhea from the Massie blowback definitely will be in 4K with super subtitles. Another Indian illegal immigrant struck driver. Another Indian illegal immigrant truck driver named Singh just killed 2 people in California. That's 4 Singhs in fatal crashes this year. California's diversity program is going great. They have successfully diversified traffic fatalities. Ilhan Omar finally addressed the massive feeding fraud scandal in Minnesota that stole over $250 million from children. She called the allegations flat false, then blamed Donald Trump. Of course, the woman who married her own brother for immigration fraud says she had no idea about the other giant fraud happening right under her nose. Turns out the only thing Omar is really good at, feeding, is bullshit. The Trump DOJ just indicted Raúl Castro for the 1996 murder of 4 Americans whose planes were shot down by Cuba. This is extra awkward because it resurfaced those 2016 photos of Barack Obama and Raúl Castro laughing and doing the wave together at a baseball game in Havana. Yeah, nothing says hope and change like doing the wave with the dictator who is waving goodbye to American pilots with surface-to-air missiles. President Trump just bought a huge stake in a popular Los Angeles conveyor belt sushi chain. Yes, really. The man can't stop winning. He now literally owns the little plates of raw fish going in circles in one of the wokest cities in America. California liberals are already losing their minds. They spent years saying Trump would destroy the country. Now they are terrified he's going to make their sushi great again. At this rate, he'll own the avocado toast industry by August. California Democrats continue their gold medal run in the Retarded Idea Olympics, an event where the competition is fierce, the ideas are brain dead, and the taxpayers always lose. This week, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass took home the silver in solving homelessness category. Her groundbreaking plan: give meth addicts free dentures. Yes, that's right. Bass went on TV and said with a straight face that one of the biggest barriers to getting homeless people off the street is that meth has rotted their teeth out. Quote, you can't succeed without teeth. So naturally, she wants taxpayers to foot the bill for comprehensive dental care, because nothing says personal responsibility like giving someone who smoked their brain into oatmeal a $30,000 Hollywood smile on your dime. But the gold medal this week goes to LA City Council member and mayoral candidate Nithya Raman, or as I like to call her, Raman Noodle Brain. While Los Angeles deals with actual crises, crime, failing schools, and record homelessness, Raman Noodle Brain has decided the real emergency is your backyard barbecue. She proposed banning backyard barbecues, fire pits, and open flames on high fire risk days because apparently while California is on fire, the biggest threat isn't the 46 homeless-related fires happening in Los Angeles every single day. It is dad flipping burgers in his own yard. Yes, that's right. Homeless encampment fires are averaging 46 per day in LA, but Ramen Noodle Brain wants to crack down on your Weber grill. You can't make this up. These people will spend hundreds of millions on free teeth for meth addicts and hotel rooms for drug users, but God forbid you cook a steak in your own backyard. At this point, the Retarded Idea Olympics in California isn't even a competition anymore. It's just exhibition performances by people who genuinely hate normal life. The Democratic National Committee finally dropped their long-awaited 192-page autopsy on the 2024 election disaster. And folks, it's less of an autopsy and more like a participation trophy for losing. After Kamala Harris blew through over $1 billion and still got absolutely smoked by Donald Trump, the DNC spent months carefully crafting this document. And what did they conclude? Apparently, the real problem was they just didn't talk enough about the issues that matter to normal people in the Midwest and South. No kidding. A 192-page report basically says maybe we should stop calling everyone a racist, sexist, transphobe, and try talking about the economy and borders once in a while. They spent $1.04 billion on media ads, but only $150 million on actual voter contact. That's like buying a Ferrari to drive to the grocery store and wondering why you are still broke. The report also gently suggests they focused too much on identity politics and neglected working-class voters. You don't say. The same party that spent 4 years telling coal miners they're climate criminals is shocked that those voters didn't show up with flowers. But here's the best part. The report completely avoids talking about Biden's obvious decline, the disaster in Gaza, or how they forced Kamala on everyone like a bad blind date. It's like doing an autopsy on someone who died from a heart attack and concluding, well, he did have nice shoes. At one point, the DNC even added their own annotations questioning the report's own findings. That's right. They released a report criticizing themselves while disagreeing with their own criticism. It's the political equivalent of writing a suicide note and then arguing with it in the comments section. This doesn't appear to be an autopsy. This appears to be a Democrat coping mechanism with footnotes. They lost because Americans looked at their agenda: open borders, inflation, crime, men and women's sports, and calling parents domestic terrorists, and said, yeah, we are good. But don't worry, Democrats. I'm sure next time, if you just call voters garbage a little louder, it will work. I am the left coast liberator. That's my story, and I am sticking to it. President Trump casually dropped one of the most alpha foreign policy lines in modern history this week. In a new interview, when asked about Iran, Trump said, quote, Benjamin Netanyahu will do whatever I want him to do. Not, we will consult our allies. Not, we have a strong partnership. Just BB's on the group chat and he'll handle it. This is less diplomacy and more like Trump treating Israel like a very expensive, very well-armed personal assistant. Trump, the same man who once turned top Iranian terrorist Qasem Soleimani into a fine red mist with a drone strike, is apparently back and has upgraded from maximum pressure to Bibi, surprise me. Iranian officials are said to be reacting with their signature calm demeanor, meaning they're currently hiding in underground bunkers, refreshing their wills and asking each other if Oman is nice this time of year. Democrats and the mainstream media are, of course, horrified. They're calling Trump's comments dangerous and reckless, which is hilarious coming from the same people who thought the best way to deal with Iran was sending them pallets of cash and hoping they'd be nice. At this point, the Ayatollah is probably waking up in a cold sweat every night, muttering, "We used to chant death to America. Now I'm just chanting, please don't let Trump get bored at 3 a.m. I can already see the phone call. Trump, hey, Bibi, Tuesday's looking good for that thing. Netanyahu responds, Tuesday works great, sir. Should we go big or go biblical? Yes, Trump says. The Iranian regime went from death to America to please don't let him tweet. I am Drew Allen, and that is the news. Good night.